They're really not entertaining, but we just got a lot to cover, like you're saying. And the fireworks was going on outside too. I didn't see them, but like I heard them for sure. It was not thunder.
That's going to be a 10 to 15-second delay. We're not getting back.
Pretty much.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the J&J Talk Show. I'm Justin, and this is Justin here. We appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Apologize for how being a late of a show it is, but we've had to make some adjustments. So cut down on some equipment, kind of finalize it up.
And hopefully you can hear me now.
Yeah, hopefully this one's a lot better. The lag is not as much. And we're still going to test things out. So this isn't going to be our final product. As we grow, we're going to test some things out. Hopefully we get better at this. So bear with us. But this is what we have as of right now. Had yourself a good weekend?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there tomorrow. Like I said, this show is going to probably be posted pretty late on this Sunday evening. But we have a very impactful show to get you a little bit more variety to cover.
For sure. For this weekend. For this starting.
Yeah. There's some good things. There's a little bit of good things, and then there's some bad things. But it's been a busy weekend for the most part. For example, first off, Labor Day will be tomorrow. This is when we're talking about it. So happy Labor Day to everyone. We hope everyone stays safe out there. Enjoy the days off.
And enjoy the fireworks happening right now.
The fireworks happening off locally around town in a different state. Wherever you're viewing this from, stay safe out there. Have fun. Happy Labor Day to everyone here for the first and foremost. And the next week episode we'll go back into it because I think we're going to have a special segment next week, just kind of briefly breathing over 9/11. I know we're already in the fall time. This is kind of
already gonna be 9/11.
Segment there. I remember growing up when, and I grew up on the West Coast, so I know out in the East Coast, school has always been. They've always started sometime in August, if not towards the end. But when I was growing up in school. And they didn't convert this into how everyone is now until after I left school. But school started the day after Labor Day. So you knew when Labor Day hit, school was the next day. It was like the end of summer for all the kids when it came down.
Yeah, that's more like West Coast. East Coast is completely different.
And they got rid of that back about 8 years ago. So, yes, kids would get a nice 3-day weekend off.
It was nice for them and not for us. We got to start around my birthday. The last week of August.
Right. So happy Labor Day to everyone there. We're going to get right into this segment. And we want to take the moment and just a moment of silence as we honor the life of a former WCW and TNA professional wrestler, Daffney Unger, in other words, a.k.a. Shannon Spruill, and I apologize if I butcher that name, but she unfortunately passed back on September 1st of this year, at which point they declared to her death was a unfortunate gunshot wound to the chest. There was a couple of Instagram posts that over last week that went viral leading up to her passing. I guess you claim a suicidal Instagram video that went viral, and where she wanted her brain to be donated for testing for traumatic injuries. She had a lot of concussions in her career. She first started off in WCW back in 1999, associated with David Flair and Cal Bar. If you guys are old enough to remember those, she was the second woman after Mendoza or Medusa, right?
Mm-hmm.
To hold the WCW Cruiserweight title before the signing at WWE.
Now you know. I mean, WWE had the Cruiserweight title.
She went to TNA in 2008. Injuries led up to her retirement. So to her friends, family, everyone in professional wrestling, it's definitely a sad time right now to see injuries or pain like this happen. It kind of puts me back in the mindset of like the incident like Chris Benoit, where it just, we understand the choreograph and the stunts that these athletes put together.
It can really affect their mental status and everything.
They do. Their injuries go beyond the ring each and every day, whether it's the bumps over time, the head injuries, the
physical toll on their bodies,
the surgeries that they go through, all that stuff. And to be able to endure all that, it's like an NFL player. It's like a veteran who comes back from war. You get traumatized. An NFL player,
PTSD is really a real thing.
And it's just like that. It happens in professional wrestling, and some people, get hurt, and they come down to these points. So, I know I don't watch WCW. I was too young at that time. I watched TNA growing up a little bit. I don't necessarily remember. I mean, I remember her after watching videos and reminiscing about her life and her actions in TNA. But I really never associated too much with Shannon. So, I don't want to speak too much about it, but it is a real thing. And whenever you lose somebody in the industry, no matter what the cause is, it's always a remorseful time. So like I said, we'll take this moment in a moment of silence to honor the life of Shannon Spruill. July 15, 1975 to September 1st, 2021. And I, just want to make sure I give the condolences out to the families and friends, the people who knew her, the people who grew up that supported her. Definitely any athlete, it doesn't matter whether you're a heel, you're a baby face, it doesn't matter who you are. Even the wrestlers or athletes I dislike. I never wish anything upon one of them, and hopefully her donation could be successful and we can learn and move forward from this to prevent this from happening from someone else, or at least provide the right care. So it is with great
heavy heart and stuff like that.
Heavy heart to have to be able to say this here, but I appreciate it. I think appreciate everything that she's done. It's an entertaining business, and you don't really realize the tolls and what these athletes do night in and night out, what they give back.
Just to entertain us, basically.
And I know, and I apologize for going off topic here a little bit, but I remember I saw a video of an interview with Kane a couple of years back, or like a year or two back, and he was being interviewed at like one of his saddest moments, and I guess how he told the story, and which really got my heart too, because it's heartfelt. Because he's if these athletes in the ring, they could be the most deceivious people, the most cruel people on earth, and then outside the ring, they wouldn't hurt a fly. But Kane told a story where he was at a concert with his wife. He was in the concession stands, and a mother walks up to him and shows him a picture that he took with his son, or that she took with him and his son. And that was the last picture she ever took of her son. And because he passed not too long afterwards. And, Kane breaks down, just feeling remorse because the impact that you put on someone like a child. I mean, these athletes put an impact on me, whether it's football, baseball, wrestling, it doesn't matter. So
It's love to see this doing and give back to the community and stuff like that. Like make the Wish Foundation
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So, well, impact all around. It's a round trip story. So, anyways, gosh, I wish it would have been a better start to the show, but
True.
we're we got to firstly get going. It's been a busy week. You got Labor Day going on. Week 1, part 2. Officially of NCAA football all weekend long. You don't want to miss it. I don't know. Maybe pop up the score for the Notre Dame game here in Florida State. But a couple of worthy mentions here. Ohio State beat Minnesota back on Thursday, 45-31. NC State destroys South Florida 45-0. Boise State falls short to UCF on Thursday, 36-31. Other just notable mentions: Michigan State won, defeated Northern Western. Virginia Tech beat North Carolina. You go on. Penn State beat Wisconsin. Oregon beat Fresno State. I apologize for Phillips in there. Shoot. Alabama beat Miami. Not just beat 44-13. That's a collaboration right there. Texas beat Louisiana. I saw that coming. UCLA goes 2-0 under Chip Kelly against LSU, 38-27. San Diego State beat New Mexico State, 28-10. On the big game of the week, I didn't really just discover it until yesterday, and after I discovered it was too late. Georgia beat Clemson. Yeah, I said that right. 10-3. And, one thing I noticed on this week alone, there's not really high-scoring games.
Nope.
Yeah, we see Alabama there. We saw South and NC State, back on Thursday. But these were actually football games. One thing with the college football, they really go all out. They're going 45, 60 points. And they're usually like blowout games, 2-3 scores. And a lot of them are pretty close. Notre Dame and Florida State going on right now?
Yep.
Or?
No, Notre Dame is winning 24-20.
Over
Florida State University.
A little bit left in the game?
It's third quarter.
Third quarter. Well, hopefully we get done before that end of the game, but we'll see. Other notable mentions: Nebraska won, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, USC won, BYU and Kansas won. And then tomorrow, Labor Day weekend, you get a prime time Louisville versus Ole Miss. I believe that's on ESPN, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me there. I apologize. But check that out. Labor Day special for NCAA football. I would have probably saved Georgia and Clemson for that day, but I'll take Louisville and Ole Miss for the most part. If you guys have a college football team that you want us to go ahead and mention as the weeks go on, because I don't have a problem mentioning it. Like you said, my partner here follows Texas. I'll follow San Diego State. We'll mention some big key games. You're talking about a game that was big next week.
That was.
But if you have a game that you want to follow, if you have an important game, leave us a comment down below, message on Facebook. Just let us know so that we can kind of help you follow it. We don't have a problem shouting it out, mentioning. Now, I may not like the team, but
it'd be that controversial.
It'd be much better a conversation if they lost.
True.
But if you want to bring it up, if you want us to mention a team that you guys like, just let us know.
So it's actually next Saturday at noon on Fox. Ohio State's face Oregon.
Ohio State and Oregon. Ooh, that's good. That is going to be a good one. That's actually going to be a good one because they don't have the running back, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just a brief NCAA moment. We're going to jump right into wrestling, and what we got jumping into wrestling here
is AEW.
AEW, all out. I know we're going to, by the time we post this, it's going to be all said and done. But I want to just briefly go over the match cards. For AEW, this has happened or is currently taking place in the Now Arena in Hoffman Estate in Illinois. Okay, $50 wasn't a bad price for this pay-per-view. And honestly, with the matches on this match card, I would have purchased this. I just don't got $50 on me. Okay, put it back on Peacock. Let's make it WWE style.
Make it free.
But there were some really, some okay matches. I think, okay, so you start off, you have Orange Cassidy, Wheeler, Utah, and pardon me if I butcher these names, Chuck Taylor and Jurassic E versus Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. Don't know. I mean, I know Orange Cassidy. I think I know Jurassic E, Matt Hardy. Listen, I tune in and out of AEW is something because I have not grown up and I have not pondered on. I got my own opinions. A lot of people are going to bash on me with AEW and because of my opinions. But listen, bear with me. We'll get to know a lot of these superstars. Help us out, and we'll work with you here. There was a 21 women casino battle royal. Paul Wright versus QT Marshall. AEW TNT Championship, Miro versus Eddie Kingston.
I never heard of Eddie Kingston.
AEW Women's World Championship, Brett Baker and Chris Statlander. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. You got John Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. And like I said, I apologize for butchering these names.
I would butcher even worse.
AEW World Tag Team Championship match, which I think this was going to be a top 5 matches here. You had the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros, the two hottest tag teams in AEW. And personally, for me, in all of professional wrestling, I love the Young Bucks, but I've grown over Lucha Bros so much.
They remind me like,
and this is actually happening inside a steel cage. So,
very
I like it. Jericho versus MFJ once more. But this time, hey, if Jericho loses, he has to retire.
About time.
I guess you can never retire. I mean, look, Ric Flair went back to NWA this past week.
I remember. Okay.
You can't retire wrestlers at any cost.
They'll still come around.
Absolutely. AEW's title championship match. Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. We saw that back when they first had the first Rampage. It was a great match. I loved the match. I actually tuned into it. I watched it. Too. It was a great opening match. Yeah, I mean, this one's probably not going to be anything short from that. And then the main event talking, we can't forget about Darby Allin and the return after 7 years of CM Punk.
And also, with Darby Allin, you have Sting.
But no. Because I did hear a little bit of highlight this past week. Sting was taking himself out of the picture. Sting said everyone wanted to see Allin versus Punk in the return, and he was gonna walk Allin down to the ring and walk backstage.
Let's see.
Whether that's true, I don't know. If anyone's following, I apologize. We don't have AEW All Out. We will get it as soon as we can, or at least the fallout of it. But
when it's free.
We'll post something later on this week about it. But listen, I still want. The reason why I'm mentioning this, one, they pulled the match card between Pac versus Andrade, and that's Neville for you, okay? And I like this match. But they pulled it, and according to Bleacher Report, they stated that the reason they pulled in this was for traveling issues. The same thing for The Miz, and the same thing for Sasha Banks. You're seeing that more often than not. I don't know if this is COVID related. If there's also, I'm also thinking out loud if they're vaccinated or not. I don't know. I don't know the details. If someone knows the details or find out the details, let me know. I want to know why, because we saw that earlier again last week why the Miz didn't show up. Alexa Bliss didn't show up also to Raw. And but the reason why I mention this, CM Punk is probably the greatest and will ever be the greatest signing AEW could have ever done. Don't get me wrong. I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. Andrade's a good signing. A
lot of them from WWE that have signed with AEW. Well,
John Moxley's a good signing. Miro is a good signing. I think Wright. Matt Hardy is an okay signing. You mentioned Paul Wright, and the thing is,
I know he had a lot of the hip injury, but still.
Here's my problem. we posted something on Facebook earlier this week about the comparisons between AEW and WCW. Now, I'm not saying AEW is not producing good content. They're producing really good content. But there's certain wrestlers that just don't belong. And I'm not saying they belong, but listen, Christian...
Just Jericho and you're retiring. It's like that.
Well, the thing is that Paul Wright, I've known him as the Giant. I know him as Big Show. I mean, he's a great athlete. And don't get me wrong. I mean, he's doing what he does best inside that square circle. I just don't know. I mean, I question these when you start implementing these older guys that should or have, like he had years of absence of the WWE. And then you come out and making an effort in AEW just to try to, I mean, I understand where professional wrestling is. Once you get into the business, it's hard to get out. A lot of people don't have that backup job. It's all or nothing. And I mean, I've even attempted to go through professional wrestling in independent circuits down locally. And it's such a difficult thing because you have to dedicate all your time, all your effort, all your money for something that is not guaranteed. And so for Paul Wright, he's an iconic name. He's going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, absolutely.
For sure.
He's done some big, significant things, but does he still have what it takes
now
to compete with the guys now? You know, and one of my favorite wrestler of all time is Undertaker, and I even question that in the days of his winding down towards the end of his career. When is it time to hang up the boots? And sometimes, and I use this analogy because sometimes you can sit there and overdo yourself to the point where you start decrediting your career.
Well, true. That's what they just love about their passion and their career, basically. And then...
Well, don't get me wrong. I think it's great, but when we see things like, for example, Goldberg has such a terrible performance at SummerSlam.
For sure.
If he gets each time in the last couple outings he's had, ever since that Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania, he started going downhill. Now comes a point. He's a great athlete. He's going to be he's a Hall of Famer.
For sure.
He deserves so much. Let me remember you as you once was. And now because you're having trouble sticking around with the younger guys, which is not your fault, but it's just it takes time. Time dwells on the body. You start remembering people for what they are now, and if you're not performing well, it's time to hang it up.
For sure.
Because and they were talking about this with Undertaker so much because he dominated for 3 decades. He dominated pro wrestling.
For sure.
And there's just a certain time where you got to know when it's time to hang up your boots because you can't hang around with the younger guys. I understand giving back to the company. I understand this is what you do. But at the same time, if you can't have the match that you need to have that satisfies you, then you shouldn't be doing it. And just because you're a name and just because you put seats in chairs, it's great to live in the glory days, but you got to be able to back that up as well. My thing was Paul Wright. I question because like I said, last week on AEW for SummerSlam, Paul Wright's a big guy. He's a big, talented name. That's one less guy, younger guy that you don't get in there.
Yeah.
Same thing like Chris Jericho. I get he's a talented name, but here's the thing: you have the Young Bucks, the tag match in the steel cage that is a main event. You have Kenny Omega, which so this works with Kenny Omega and Christian because Christian Cage is up there in the age. He spent a solid 6-7 years away from the business also, making on and off appearance. It's just, and then you got CM Punk's return. Those are 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 with Matt Hardy that is away from others being promoted. Don't get me wrong, it's a big card. There are several matches. I love the AEW women's title match. I love the John Moxley performing. Great. Young Bucks is definitely a big hit. Chris Jericho is going to have attention because there's a retired match. The AEW champion. There's plenty of matches
for sure.
I don't want to discredit CM Punk. I will say this though: he's been gone for 7 years. Does he have what it takes? And how much of this is going to be relied on Darby Allin to carry him? Maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong. Listen, I love CM Punk. I love what he stands for and what he could do. He is the best in the world at what he does.
True.
Just like Chris Jericho says.
Mm-hmm.
But 7 years out of the ring, you're not in the same shape you were in. You tried UFC, didn't necessarily work out.
Nope.
No discredit there.
Mm-hmm. But I guess we just got to wait and see the match.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just about tonight. It's moving forward overall. I want to see I want to see these old Hall of Famers do good. But like you said, each time you have an underperformance match, I remember you now. I want to teach my children and show my children, hey, this was the Punk of the straight edge society back when he was the fucking greatest person in the world. Compared to now, if he's not able to keep himself. That's what I'm having trouble watching Goldberg matches. That's why thank God Taker is done. I love Taker. I loved him growing up. He's a true guy inside and outside that ring. He was a locker room leader, in my opinion. And when it was finally time to hang it up, although I disagree to how he should have done it, I had many different storylines put in mind that he could have walked away from the business, but he did what he did, and he did it at the right time.
True.
As much as I want to see him back again, maybe we do, but I mean, I don't want to discredit every time he comes back.
True.
I mean, that's just my opinion. I know I'm going to get heat for that, and that's fine. I just
create that controversy.
Listen, a lot of these industries rely on the older guys to put seats in, put people in seats, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because people don't want to just come to see the Punks. They want to come to witness the Punks. They want to come and witness what Paul Wright did back in the 98, WCW matches.
To see if he still has it.
Yep. Same thing with Jericho. We want to see the walls of Jericho and the high flying. Same thing with Christian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still have it? Punk was a high flying guy. Why do you see Rey Mysterio not taking more of a backseat? Because he can't do the high-flying stuff as much anymore. Jeff Hardy, the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So I may be wrong. I'm going to get heat for it. That's fine. But, I mean, for me at the same time, it's still a good show. It's still a great show. I think it was a lot better booking than SummerSlam.
This week's Raw.
And I know that they're not going to disappoint.
Yeah.
And it was definitely, obviously their shows are better right now. Definitely producing
Could it be better than SummerSlam?
I'm betting it's better than SummerSlam, even though I truly stand by WWE through the hard times. Mm-hmm. I believe it's better than SummerSlam, hands down. Just the match card alone, you can't write a better picture on paper. Exactly. It's like setting an all-star lineup.
Pretty much. An all-star game.
That way. All right, so that's it on AEW. We'll get back into we'll touch base a little bit. Maybe I'll do a small segment on what happened and the fallout of All Out, but
stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that one. We're going to get right into Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and we're going to take you to Oklahoma City. When I think of Oklahoma City, I think of good old JR.
Well, that too, and Oklahoma
Sooners, yeah, and the good old JR's barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't tried it yet. Can I find it? I don't want to go online and find it, but can someone send me the good old JR's barbecue sauce or barbecue? Barbecue sauce. I want to try it. I mean, apparently it's still a hype, but I don't know. So,
yeah, Texas and Oklahoma is not really buddies.
Hey. I haven't done a lot of barbecue. I wish I could do more.
Sure.
I got to try the sauce. I'm not going to know if I like it until then. 3 things to mention about Raw this week. And this is all based off of last week. So as I review this, I want to plant you 3 ideas in your head to think about. And 3 matches were prompted to take place this week. And not a single one of them took place.
Yep. Nada.
One good segment, possibly, and Raw was another shit show. Never didn't even
Same as last week.
And didn't. The problem is now we're in September. We got 3 weeks left before Extreme Rules.
Mm-hmm.
What are we promoting? Don't put together. And I was reading an article earlier today, and that's the epiphany of WWE because they could make these wild changes minutes before the show.
Mm-hmm.
So think about this. Last week, they promoted The Miz and Morrison after their dispute, which we already went over that and how that should extended.
True.
But they were going to sell it last Monday. Dewdrop was going to get her hands on Eva Marie.
Finally.
And with the confrontation after Lashley walking out on Sheamus last week in the tag match, they're going to go one-on-one.
You would think.
And I was excited for that match.
Exactly.
Because it was a new opponent, Sheamus. And we knew, there's been rumors about what's going on with Sheamus and how he's approaching his WWE days and whatnot. And this is like a push for him. And I don't know. So Priest comes out and opens up the program with your open challenge match. He wants to challenge anyone in the locker room for his, put his title up on the line. And the same athletes that involved last week comes out to accept them the challenge. Sheamus, McIntyre, and Lashley. And before anything could be agreed upon, RK Bro comes out. And Matt Riddle's having an open challenge, but then challenging to defend his titles against Lashley and MVP.
Mm.
So,
sound like a very confusing
it is because Priest comes out for the open challenge. That's great. You didn't need Lashley to come out there. If you're going to have MVP and Lashley, challenge the tag titles, you could have had a backstage segment afterwards to make that happen.
And we understand that he's like the champion. And he does what he does. What he wants to do.
Like I said, the promotion was Lashley and Sheamus.
Exactly.
It was an unpromoted promotion.
Mouthful to say.
Because it wasn't officially made.
Yep. But
yet again, it wasn't made, though. That's the thing. That's what we run into in this show. Because I don't believe. I mean, I may be wrong. I don't think WWE came out officially advertising this match. A lot of people assumed it was going to happen, but did it actually happen? Not necessarily. So, now we get a triple threat match for the U.S. title. Sheamus, McIntyre, and Priest. You have two baby faces in the heel.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first match of the night. And Priest reverses McIntyre's slams for a reckoning and pins him. Pins McIntyre. So babyface and babyface. And I've already figured this out. This is where the direction is going. McIntyre can't challenge Lashley as long as he has the title. So he can't go after the WWE title.
True.
So he's going after the U.S. title. I think it's about time to get him into that talk. But now Priest has that, upper advantage. He pins him. And then you throw in Sheamus nonchalant. Because I guess maybe they couldn't figure out what they were going to do with RK Bro.
No.
So
they're trying to just create matches.
This was just a waste of time, waste of resources, and waste of my interest.
They just pull names out of a hat, and there you go, create a match.
That's exactly what it did, and it felt like they had a good plan going into the show, up until Monday, where they just let's scratch everything and let's come with something new.
It's Labor Day. Let's just pull matches out of a hat.
Well, don't forget, this was last week. It's not tomorrow.
True.
But they're not making every movement. So, as a matter of fact, this is how it comes to it. Because now McIntyre and Priest are friends to the point where they, after the match, McIntyre shook Priest's hand out of respect. So at what point, great. This is going to happen. Then what was next? Do you see McIntyre and Priest as Extreme Rules for the U.S. title?
Potentially.
Or does McIntyre go turn heel? Does Priest turn heel? I don't see Priest turning heel.
I don't want to see anything where Raw is going with anything now.
But that's the point. They don't go here because the main event of the night was the Raw Tag Titles. Okay, AJ and Almost was at ringside.
Mm-hmm.
You had the Raw Tag Titles on the line. Lashley and MVP versus RK Bro, which at that point Matt Riddle had an open challenge match challenging Lashley and MVP, which Orton explained that that's not how open challenge works. So I mean, that's a little hysterical, segment there. But Lashley and MVP dominates the match most often. Orton gets an overrun. Almost tries to attack Orton outside the ring. Riddle stops him, comes back, hits the floating bro on MVP and wins the match.
Mm-hmm.
After the match, Lashley spears Riddle. Orton hits RKO on Lashley. And, once again, 2 weeks in a row, you have RK Bro standing up, celebrating on top of the world.
True.
Great. They're getting the main event push. I'm okay with that. I love what RK Bro's doing. It's just there are so many better ways to handle this. Like I said, you could have had a backstage moment with this where that's how the match comes across. I don't think it's necessarily meaningful to have. I mean, if MVP got pinned, Lashley comes in to spear Riddle just for RKO to happen on Lashley. That's just, it's a bunch of twists, ties, and knots that I don't understand.
True.
Exactly the path. But that's your main event. And that triple threat match was a lengthy match. That tag match was, I think, took about 15, 20 minutes too. So overall, an hour on 4 guys. And it it's probably not going to even be as good as the lowest match on AEW tonight.
Nope.
We go on with Raw, though, with Rhea Ripley defeating Baszler through pinfall. Baszler's trying to, she attempts to take advantage of Ripley throughout before the match. When Nia Jax tried to interfere, attacks Nikki Ash or ASH at ringside. Doesn't work out. Nia Jax apparently then so Rhea Ripley wins, and then Nia Jax comes in and slam drops or Samoan drops Shannon Spruill. This sets up a match later on the night with Nia Jax defeating Charlotte Flair. So last week, the last episode, we're talking about how Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH has something going for them
as a tag team,
upsetting Shauna and Nia. But then we talk about this week when Nia's now looks like she's getting a push towards the Raw Women's title. You got to remember, on the other hand, contrary note, we don't have Alexa Bliss who appeared, and the reasons are unknown. The Viking Raiders defeat Mahal and Veer, which at this point also for me is
that's like a beginning match.
It's one of those intermission matches, right? Where it's time to it's like a 7th inning stretch. You kind of get 2 7th inning stretches in a live event.
Yep.
Where they're kind of just downrated matches. Either you're trying to build someone, like for example, Karrion Kross defeated Humberto Carrillo. Sorry if I butchered the name, through submission. That was a botch match. That was not a botch match. It was a one and done match. It was a walkover match. Yeah, pretty quick. So those are your moments. These are your 2 matches. Viking Raiders defeating Mahal and Veer. And Mahal's not getting anywhere since SummerSlam. And it feels like he's now just being thrown in there.
Just to create matches, basically.
Just to create matches. They're trying to build Karrion Kross. And I don't care how many matches you put him up. I'm still remembering the match that he lost against Samoa Joe at NXT TakeOver.
Which was a hell of a good match.
It was a good match, but he lost.
Exactly.
All that talk, all that domination for a loss. And now you still got, and I'm still remembering Cross's matches prior to that on Raw in WWE, which completely lose the credibility. R-Truth and Tozawa. Besides RK Bro. Okay, so here's a question for you. because RK Bro has some really good, funny moments.
For sure.
R-Truth is known to be pretty creative and funny also from time to time, and he's definitely taken the creativity level on the 24/7 championship
Yep.
to the next level.
Honestly,
Which one's funnier? R-Truth and the storyline they're telling, because R-Truth dressed up as he was wearing a wig, right?
Yep.
Chasing Reggie in the parking lot while Tozawa was in a dog costume, and then Reggie does his back acrobatic stunts and leaves and vanishes. Or RK Bro's funny moments. Which one's better?
I would say RK Bro's funny moments.
RK Bro's funny moments. I mean, at least
for
me,
it's just like the like father son sort of thing.
Well, I mean, Orton has now. See, Orton has.
You don't see him. You don't picture him as like a humor guy, basically.
Well, first of all, you don't see Riddle as a main event guy.
No.
And he wouldn't be. I mean, he's getting a big hit, which is great, but he's not no main event guy, night in and night out like you're seeing now, without Orton on his side.
Exactly.
And for me, it's more, and it's like Dominic and Ray is the more of the father and son moment. Orton is the
veteran.
Is the veteran. He is also the mature one. This is professional business composed to amateur business.
Yeah, you've seen Randy Orton all nothing but seriousness and everything.
But he's also having fun with it.
He's having fun with it.
He's having the blast of his time. Oh, I can't imagine how much. I mean, Randy Orton's accomplished every accolade. One of the last ending of his era here coming up here very soon.
And you can just see the chemistry between them. And just like kind of like.
And he's enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely RK Bro. I think they're the tag team of the year. It's just the chemistry. See, these are two people that don't belong together.
Like Team Hell No.
Or like Killian Dane and
Drake Maverick.
Drake Maverick, and yet again they kick it off pretty well good, and that's right now that tag team division on Raw needs it. They don't have nobody
for sure.
Doudrop and Eva Marie was supposed to happen,
but didn't happen.
Well, Doudrop, listen, Eva Marie comes in and attacks Doudrop last week on Raw, and now you're talking about payback. Well, this is payback. If Doudrop attacks Eva Marie on her entrance down to the ring, and she's incapable of competing. So the referee had to call the match before the match even started, and this is a dead end for me. I feel like the rest of the show is a dead end for me. But this is particularly, for me, as a dead end. What are you going to do next? Is this rivalry going to get any bigger? And is it going to get beyond? It's not about when this rivalry ends. But where do you move with both of these guys, with both of these females, after the rivalry concludes? So even if Marie overpowers Doudrop and wins by any chance, where do you see her fit? She's more... With all due respect to Eva Marie, she is a diva's representation of the WWE. Remember back when they used to call them divas, and they came out in the bikini line strips? This Eva Marie and her body figure, which is amazing, she is the diva representation of WWE. She's a diva. I don't see her as a wrestler. She doesn't prove to me that she can wrestle.
Not really.
Or keep up with someone like Charlotte Flair. Nonetheless, Nikki ASH is much better at wrestling than she is. So even if Eva Marie wins and overcomes Doudrop and puts her out, where does Eva go from here? Does she go for the title match? I don't think so.
Or she potentially going to do like a tag team. Maybe. I don't know.
And then the same thing works with Doudrop. If Doudrop overcomes Eva Marie, where does she go? Because I don't think she's at that point.
Yep.
Almost Morrison. Obviously, the Miz didn't show up on Raw.
Yep.
No call, no show. Don't know what's going on. Hopefully, everything's all right. I mean, there's speculations of what could be happening, but hopefully, everything is all right. With the Miz and nothing personally happening at home or with the family, whatever the case may be.
Especially his daughters.
or dad, whatever. I don't know. Whatever the case is, hopefully everything is okay with The Miz. But he didn't show up, which leaves Morrison to face Almost in a squash match. And Almost becomes victorious. Xavier Woods comes out to save him or to assist. And it ends up Styles facing Woods, and it would be Styles and a defeating Woods in a submission, calf crusher, which was really a dud moment because then you see Styles and Almost at ringside during the main event, which I think you could have just left it at that. That would have been just fine. But yet again, I mean, Morrison could have faced a guy could have faced Jinder Mahal.
True.
Morrison could have faced Jeff Hardy. Where are all these athletes? He could have faced Keith Lee.
True.
It was interesting to me because, I mentioned to you earlier, the 3 matches that was promoted to take place this week. Not a single one of them happens. And yet again, we sit here 2 weeks after SummerSlam, and we don't have ourselves any momentum going forward. Nothing prevailing towards Extreme Rules. And I'm just going to check here really fast. We're officially in September, right?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3 weeks. 3 weeks before Extreme Rules.
True. So
at what point do we start creating storylines, and what storylines are good enough to hold up? So that was Raw. We're going to have to get back into this week because there's nothing set up for this week.
Nope. It's probably going to be the same thing for tomorrow.
Nothing set up. And you would think that Labor Day is tomorrow, so yeah, it would be more of a lighter day. But then you had 2 weeks prior to do this, and you don't really want 2 weeks. 3 weeks now, within a 5-week period of nothing moving on. If you have 3 consecutive weeks when nothing's getting pushed.
This feels like
I'm not watching the first week. The week after. Hey, listen, if nothing happens, which I'm afraid to say this because it's going to be true, but if nothing happens on Raw tomorrow night, shit, I'll talk to you about what's happening on the Big Bang Theory that comes up at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to just start talking about
young Sheldon.
And young Sheldon. Yes, I'm sorry, my mistake. That's what September 27th, if I'm not mistaken, on TBS, new season. Just saw that earlier. Or you know what? Shoot, I'd much rather review the Chrisleys than Raw right now, and that's every Thursday night on USA Network. That's Chrisley Knows Best, and then his children have their own show right after. Forgot the name of that show, but no. All right. Hey, listen. Do you like the NXT's new logo?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I wish that would have been like more for Velveteen Dream a little bit.
True. It's more like Pride Month basically than anything
Pride
else.
Month. Is it only a monthly thing, or are they going to stick with it?
I think it'll be just a Pride Month, maybe.
Well, they promoted this for a couple weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally reveals the new NXT logo. And rumors come out, at least statements. I don't know if they're true or not. Vince McMahon is taking over the story business of NXT. Before we get onto that, I noticed here, and I'm going to try to correct it. Can you correct the screen first?
What?
You got to angle that just a little bit. I apologize. We're going to have a little intermission.
I can move my chair closer.
Or that way too. Hey, NXT. So what's going on, man? NXT is it any better than Raw?
A lot better.
Is it between AEW and Raw?
Pretty much. Opening match. You got Saray versus Mandy Rose.
I'm gonna hold that thought. NXT. Let's go ahead and get that Disney mug out there. Just while we're having that. All right, go ahead. NXT Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
New logo. You're gonna mention Mandy Rose. I know that was a big conversation there. What else is going on in NXT?
Well, with Mandy Rose, she got her face broken.
Oh, face broken.
The orbital bone.
Is it the
injury.
orbital bone? All right, so is she gonna come in a mask?
That should look like Sheamus.
Sheamus. A lot of people. That's a common injury most often than not.
It's pretty easy to break.
Taker had a mask. I don't know if you remember that one time he had that face mask. That was to provide cushion protection.
I remember
but those are so scary because if you actually shatter it, you could actually lose your eye.
Pop out.
Yeah, and I think Vader had that done.
I remember that one time.
It was in one of the indie circuits. He had it popped out during a match.
Which was freaky. And
he had to pop it back in. I'm like, dude, what a bad SOB.
True. Then after the match, pretty much Saray gets attacked by Mandy Rose tag team.
They find her in the locker room, right? And they just brutally
Gigi and JC, was it Janae or something like that? Probably just murdered that.
Hey, we're butchering names left and right. That's going to be the new name of our show, the Butcher Show.
Yeah, the butchering of names.
Yep.
not the Reaper of Souls. This butcher of names.
Absolutely.
Then next match was Kyle O'Reilly versus Duke Dudson, which Kyle actually wins because that heel hook is will fuck you up pretty badly.
It is. But if it's done right, it's such a great move.
It really is. It'll make anybody tap out really quickly. Well, then after that, then you have Draggar, and have not know how to pronounce his name.
Hey, so I just want to point out this way. Yes, I'm throwing you under the bus. You're looking up Bleacher Report. I sit here. I'm gonna just shush. I sit here and I take notes. I got notes. I got 3, 4, 5 pages of notes here that I'm using for Raw.
I just take this very seriously.
Listen, SmackDown. I have notes. Okay. Now I may not watch every single episode. I may not watch from start to finish in every single episode. I know you watch highlights. Listen, you got phone here. No, it's not even a phone. It's off of what happens this week.
Pretty much.
So
I watched the match and the NXT.
You should just be able to regurgitate this like it's nothing.
Kind of. If it was entertaining.
Well, yeah, that's true. If it was entertaining, it would be something that would be stuck in our minds.
The Tommaso Ciampa was actually a really good match too.
So, Tommaso Ciampa, did he fight in response to Thatcher's match last week?
Yeah, Tommaso Ciampa was faced Ridge Holland, which he actually won.
Is it Holland? Gosh, they come up with these crazy ass names.
And then just the match card we were talking after that was Drake Maverick versus Imperium with Drake Maverick and Grayson Waller. Which you never even heard of Grayson Waller. It looks like they just put Drake Maverick was someone unknown.
So are they teaming up now with that? Is he trying to find a new partner? Maybe.
I think that was
is he a guy that can face Killian? I don't know what Killian Dane's status is with NXT. If he's still on the roster, maybe he's out. I don't know. Please enlighten us if you know. But if he's on NXT still, and maybe he has to take time away. Could you see this guy being a potential opponent for Killian Dane? That when he comes back, hey, that's my Drake Maverick. Who are you to touch him? Let me have a feud with you.
Well, I can see Drake Maverick going to 205 Live.
Does he have the moves for it though? I've always seen Drake as a man. You know what? I don't even remember Drake as a manager. I don't even know remember when Drake used to run 205 Live?
I don't remember that.
He used to run 205 Live.
Dang.
Then he goes down to NXT looking to get himself in the tournaments, fail. I still love the original Drake that used to mess up with Dixie Carter back in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was like the little pet that Dixie Carter had. And he would humiliate himself all the time.
True.
But 205 Live. No, being a single. Okay, so is Drake Maverick a singles competitor, though?
Well, I can see potential.
Can he go toe-to-toe with a guy like Cedric Alexander, or a Jack Gallagher, or a Tony Nese in 205 Live?
I can see that. Well, kind of.
Well, without having,
winning, I don't know, but he can
maybe go up against. What was it? What was that guy's name? The guy who did the PowerPoints, Drew Gulak. Could he? He would probably go up against him. He may be able to go up against Reggie.
Maybe.
But can he go up with the guy like who bought the Carrillo? Carrillo, all right. Pardon my.
Carrillo.
Or are we gonna have issue? And once WWE sees that, I mean, are they just going to can him? Because he's much more. I mean, he I love what he does with like how R-Truth does comedian stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So does that continue to happen, or like he was always behind? He was a false front leader in the Killian Dane tag team.
True.
You know, Killian carried it. You know, it was like the David and Goliath. Killian Dane carried the team. He just took all the credit.
Basically.
Or tried to take credit.
True.
Got Killian in position where we wouldn't, or got, you know, he basically, Drake got themselves in positions where Killian would have to get him out of trouble.
For sure.
I like that stuff. That's entertaining for me.
Mm-hmm. Also, then you got Raquel Gonzalez. I can actually say that name. Defeat Jessie Camela. And that's when Frankie Monet was probably going to go against maybe Raquel Gonzalez.
Okay.
Maybe at the next pay-per-view for NXT.
Which is when? Do we have a date for that yet?
Nope. Then you got like a...
Or you know what? Can we just have that match on NXT as a main event? See, that's what I love about NXT, though. You don't have to have a match you don't have to have a pay-per-view every month. You could have
a championship match next week or something like
especially if you know you're not moving those titles
exactly
off of someone, or you know you're not moving the storyline down a different path.
Mm-hmm. Then you have the Roderick Strong versus Ikemi Guerrero, which was really I cannot pronounce words at this moment.
All right, if you want to look on this, you should just go to WWE.com and look at match results.
Basically, then there's just the main event of Tommaso Ciampa defeating
the key important thing is Roderick Strong faced up against an unknown opponent and won the match. And let me bring that up because Roderick Strong. I know that back on NXT Takeover, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. I consider that the official end of the Undisputed Era. And I know they've been broken up for quite some time now, and it's like whatever. But Roderick Strong, being as an Undisputed Era member,
mm-hmm.
first match since out of any Undisputed Era athletes that competed since that match. Because you officially ended that storyline and you're moving on as single competitors. Can Roderick Strong repaint himself in that image that he was before he joined an Undisputed Era? Yeah, because we talked about this. Undisputed Era was going after people, trying to recruit people, and it came down to Roderick Strong, and it was a Daniel Bryan moment.
Yeah,
it was join us. It was either beat them or be them, and Roderick chose to be them. We talked about this because I wanted to see, or I thought it would have been nice to see Roderick go against Undisputed Era in the start of their fallout, separation, and trying to gain back his singles career. Right?
Yeah.
And for me, we never saw that. There's a lot of things I think would have worked that we never saw, period, in Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. But at the same time, now he's back in the singles competitor action, right? Does he have what it takes? Or does he have enough credibility behind his name to put him above where he was at before joining Undisputed Era? Because now he's facing the guy that you can't even pronounce his name. That's a problem in WWE. Well, if you can't pronounce his name, then you don't need to believe he'd be in there.
Well, exactly. But the dude is from the tournament that Cameron
if you can't pronounce his name, you don't belong in there. That's why they got rid of Otis Dozovic and they just put Otis.
Well, it's something I can pronounce Shinsuke Nakamura, but I can't pronounce him.
See, Shinsuke has been established for years, and that's. I'm just saying.
He was in NXT, I was even still able to reach his name.
Yeah, but that kind of just rolled off your tongue.
Yeah,
Shinsuke Nakamura. That's a true Japanese name.
And also, it's kind of memorable.
I'm gonna butcher that. Someone's gonna yell at me about that. No, but I'm serious because So now they're all separated. Kyle O'Reilly won, so he has momentum going out of it. Adam Cole is such a big name because he's carried NXT for so many years. He could go anywhere he wants. He'll be a name.
Exactly.
Roderick Strong wasn't the head of the, he wasn't the tribal chief, in the Undisputed Era. So does he have enough credibility into regaining, into having his singles competitor beyond Undisputed Era? Or is he going to need help, or is he going to be written off TV here soon?
True.
And then you had the main event with Tommaso Ciampa. I know I interrupted on that one.
No, you're right. Tommaso Ciampa defeated Ridge Holland. I shouldn't say his last name.
Did Thatcher appear? Did he show up?
No, Thatcher's still injured, so he's not able to compete.
How injured is? Do we have a confirmation of what the injury is?
Not exactly, but Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, and Danny Burke actually trying to interfere in MSK, which is they're the tag team champions right now.
So last week they tried to go after Samoa Joe wanting the title, but now they're going after tag titles. So who's making that direct line towards the tag titles, or are they setting up with that tournament winner? Are they going to send him up with Samoa Joe?
Potentially, but I don't see him going that way. He might go with the North American Championship.
Okay, or maybe does a UK Championship count? So what's next for Samoa Joe? Is he not on? Was he not there last week?
No, he just didn't an interview, just doing the same thing he did last week, basically.
But in a more controlled setting.
Pretty much, more professional.
So they move forward by not moving forward.
Basically.
Okay. So was NXT a better show then?
It was
because I liked. I thought I liked Ciampa and Holland.
Yeah, it was a damn good match. It was
Mandy Rose. Listen, maybe because she built herself on SmackDown.
But she was able to compete against Summer Rae.
Right, but once she got that kick, she was done.
Nope, she was done for. She had exit the match with the fucking towel in her face.
Yeah. Well, I thought
maybe to hide her eyeball into her face.
Probably, because that could have been
they even posted on Instagram, the photos of her.
Have they?
Nope.
No.
She hasn't really been on there. I haven't really seen. But yeah, I would definitely say the NXT was a little bit better than definitely Raw.
Raw. We're going to take this time, and before we hit our last segment here, and that would be SmackDown, we want to go ahead and once again just give a shout out to things that make this show possible. And that's going to be, we have to thank Place It, which is a online application that you can create, like our logo that you see there on our screen, that intro video that you saw there, that we made. And like I said, it's just a starter video. We will, as time prevails, we'll get more going up. Place It. Go to placeit.com for more information. J&J Talk Show. That's our logo right there. We can't help but having to thank that. But Place It. Come on over to that. You could get all your logos. You could get your logos on a picture, on mugs, on T-shirts if you want. If you're looking to sell your stuff, this is a great way that you could also get your license on that stuff. Don't worry about any of that. Also, Epidemic Sound, which helps us with the music that you got in the beginning of our intro as well. That one, Epidemic Sound, you get over 100, you get over thousands of music that's properly licensed that you could use on social media that you won't have to worry about copyright issues. And then also, we like to make sure we thank the studio that we're working out of in StreamYard. It's an iCloud studio. You work with online. You can stream. Last week we went live last week and we had a delay. That's because we had 3 cameras,
much going on,
2 microphones, a whole bunch of technology hooked up to one laptop, maybe overworked the laptop. And we're trying to push so much stuff out there. We took a step back, and we hope that when we post this video and this talk show, better. That it's much better. There's no delays. The audio is much better. I believe it's much better. But StreamYard has given us the opportunity as two junkies who don't know really too much deep into how to live stream and whatnot. And until we could get better equipment and a better laptop and a better microphone, whatever the case may be, it's still allowed us to give us a foundation. And it's easy to manage. I could talk to you live. I have live stream up here now that we can monitor ourselves to an extent. And as we grow, we're hoping to get guests on, get people to join us. But we're trying to work out the kinks. So hopefully this show is a lot better than last week's show. But thanks to StreamYard, getting our content out there is the most important thing. So
For sure.
I'd like to give a shout out to StreamYard, which you can see in the up right-hand corner there. That's their logo. Head over to StreamYard.com. They have multiple options, free stuff that you can pay that's very cheap. And it's a great way if you're getting started with YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social
or even
media,
just doing this for fun.
Whatever the case may be, StreamYard is the place to go.
True.
So I'd like to thank them for providing this type of equipment at the hands of mediocre or intellectual, very beginning
podcast for dummies.
Exactly.
If everyone remembers those books.
I mean, and there's other areas that I've done research on, like Ecamm, and we may try other things, but right now, what we're working off of is Smooth. The comments down below, just a brief idea of what we're looking at. It's all on the click of a button. So, as we pay tribute to Shannon Spruill, who passed away, earlier last week from a gunshot wound to the chest, a former WCW TNA athlete as well. So all this is at the simple hands of
the simple
StreamYard.
click.
Exactly, and then it helps us so we can focus on what we talk about.
True. As I don't write notes, I just use my phone.
Hey, yes, but you know what? Listen, that's fine. Hey, it works. We don't have to be perfect. And I think one of the struggles is you want to thrive to be as perfect as possible, to have the greatest show as possible.
True.
And we're going to mess up 1,000 times. Especially this is only our second episode. Now, I would say if we're still messing up at 100 episodes, I'm going to kick you in the shin. But if we're still getting our feet wet, much so when it comes out of this talk show. So, but you know what? We can't do this without you guys. Okay. So viewing our stuff, sharing our stuff, liking our stuff, giving us feedback, comments, whether it's good, whether it's bad, it doesn't matter. It's comments, and help you in providing the right content out there. Right now we're talking about wrestling. We brought up football for a little bit. We could talk about football. We could talk about baseball. We could talk about the Teletubbies if you want to. I really don't care. Let us know, though. If you don't tell us what you want to hear, we can't help ourselves incorporate that into our conversations. But wrestling right now, we feel is our strong suit, and we're just going to go after it and have fun with it, right? That's the key important, is to have fun in our conversations and providing the content that we enjoy providing. So even if you don't want to watch the episode, if you want to just support, like it and share it, maybe someone out there you do know that could watch this, likes to watch this stuff, whether you're at home doing chores, whether you're in school and you want to just listen to something, or on the road and want to listen to something. It's meant to be all around. I know this is a video. Maybe we need to get to a radio an application and do a radio segment. But there's multiple opportunities out there. Just give us the feedback. Let us know the direction that we could be taking in, and then also enjoy the ride. We're going to develop, become different, become new. Maybe you break off and do your own once a week. Maybe I do the same thing, right? Maybe we add in some more people that we may know that to help, do a show. Maybe I'll do a show on cars. I don't know.
Do show on movies or anything like that.
Let's do a show on Charmin, whether it's ultra soft or ultra strong. Which one do you go for? But the idea is out there.
The Charmin clean. Which one's Honey's clean?
I just, listen, we're up here. We want to have a good time. That's all we're talking about, is having a good time. We're not, everyone that we talk about, everything that we talk about is with the utmost respect. We know what we put out there. So, We will love nothing more but the support. So thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
That was
It was hard.
coming from the heart, man. No, it really is. We're gonna get right into SmackDown. I don't know where SmackDown was at on Friday, but and I'm not gonna go right off on order. You know, I haven't been. I'm going off of the wild side things tonight. And Paul Heyman. This is how quick that segment is, because Paul Heyman gets a phone call, gets actually several phone calls, and guess whose ringtone it is?
Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Of course.
He rejects the first one. Shame on you. He rejects the second one. Shame on me. He rejects the third. If you reject the third one, he's going to reach through the phone and kill you. So Paul Heyman answers and basically tells Paul, hey, I'm going to be here next week at Madison Square Garden. So I know what next week's SmackDown is going to be. Man, I want to go to Madison Square Garden.
True.
So much history has been made there. But according to Paul Heyman, which he really relayed to Roman Reigns, and I know there's butting heads because Paul's a Brock guy, and now Paul's trying to do Roman guy. But Brock Lesnar's going to be apparently on SmackDown. Now,
which he's going to make money off of that.
Ever since the first preseason week, where SmackDown was taken off of air on certain areas, and for preseason football, they really got to keep pushing SmackDown for that top talent. You got to think about it. It's Fox.
True.
USA is USA. Fox is nationwide. No, Fox is not just nationwide, but it's everything. And unless it's good content, they won't produce it. They won't air it out on them. So they got to keep thriving. And I still think SmackDown overall beats Raw. Maybe NXT. Not AEW, for sure not. But maybe for AEW, for NXT, for what NXT does, I think NXT had a really better outing than Raw this week.
For sure.
But SmackDown is really still at the top, even how bad it is, because it was pretty bad this week. Once again, we're going to start rating. Not which show's better, which one's the worst. We're going to keep tabs every week, which one's the worst, and we're going to see who wins. And we're going to throw a celebration for who wins. But I also thought about this. Paul Heyman. You know, everyone who's been a Paul Heyman guy, think about it. Brock Lesnar. How long has he held that WWE Championship? For years. Quite a while. Over a year, right? Who else was a Paul Heyman guy? He's main eventing in AEW.
Oh, CM Punk.
CM Punk. How long did he hold that WWE Championship?
Wasn't it like 600?
Way over a year. Roman Reigns is a Paul Heyman guy also, considerably. And he has now threshed over a year. You're a Paul Heyman. If you become a Paul Heyman guy,
you become
and Paul Heyman that takes you in, you become champion for quite a while.
And if you have the talent to do so.
Well, I mean, these are three different diverse people.
True.
I mean, Brock Lesnar was coming up from nothing, from OVW. Thank God he listened to him, or his career would have been shot. And I love Brock Lesnar. I think he's a great athlete. Definitely have much respect for him. CM Punk, who really stood his ground. And if it wasn't for Paul Heyman to step in, I don't think he would have got that extra push, and he wouldn't have been able to do the same pipe bombs that he used to be famous for, or he still is famous for. But Paul Heyman really helped push him over on that end.
True.
Now Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman works well with Roman Reigns, and even though they don't really do much together, they really excel at that, especially that heel persona, because Paul plays a really good heel character. And anyone who associates him as a heel will get the heat.
Yep.
So Brock Lesnar will be at Madison Square Garden this coming up Friday on SmackDown to address his return. Roman Reigns agrees to face Finn Balor for the Universal Championship match, and on the entrance, the Usos attack Balor, and with the courage of Balor, he
goes with the match.
He goes with the match. Puts up a really good match. I think they class it as a B rating and a B grade, and he still loses. I mean, but you haven't seen a main title be put up for grabs in a while.
Nope.
I know a couple weeks ago we saw Shinsuke winning the title over
Apollo Crews.
And
Apollo Crews is still mad from him actually
But
losing.
yet again, you don't see Apollo Crews do anything about it.
Nope.
And
potentially, maybe next week. I don't know.
With that luck, I don't know. But so the Usos come out while Balor's making his entrance, and they attack Finn Balor. The Street Profits come in and chase them off. Finn Balor gathers up whatever's left, goes on with the match, but falls short. Earlier, and that's the entire night. That's the main event. That's all you need to know. Let's wrap it up. Let's go home. No, we had also the Street Profits and the Usos, and the Usos are trying to penetrate themselves or trying to encourage themselves as that group that, hey, we're not going to take any orders. We're going to do what we want as we want. Street Profits got out of the way. Let's take them out. They lost. Their Street Profits beat the Usos out of a DQ after they attacked. But the Street Profits this time got the upper hand as Ford did a diving on both of the when he dove over onto the Usos outside the ring. Now, here's the thing. I feel like that's the only thing that's moving forward in SmackDown right now. You have Roman and Finn Balor, great, but Street Profits, Usos, I can now see happening officially at Extreme Rules.
The Universal Championship and the Tag Team Champions. SmackDown Tag Team
I would think so. I mean, okay, so now you push, you establish yourself on SmackDown for Roman Reigns and Balor. Move to Extreme Rules. Maybe make a stipulation, Extreme Rules match, and let the rest play out. I mean, obviously, you're not getting nothing from Raw right now. And you ain't going to get any stipulations. I would put a stipulation on this. Still cage.
Could Edge face Rollins again or no?
We're
at
getting
Extreme Rules.
Let's get there. Becky Lynch, because I'm going to take you down a different direction. Becky Lynch sits here and refuses to face Bianca Belair. And I don't know. Please tell me if I'm wrong. And you may not be able to tell me this week, but tell me next week if I'm wrong. Lynch claims that Belair has done nothing but make excuses for her loss against Lynch at SummerSlam. And we talked about this before we went on air, how Belair was just so excited out of Lynch's return that she couldn't get a hold of herself. And for me, it's like, okay, so, but Lynch, I haven't seen you compete. I get it. Lynch had to, surrender the title because she was pregnant. She never lost it. She comes back and claims it. She was also a fighting. She didn't say no to anybody. She fought anyone and everyone, whether she was a babyface or a heel. And now she doesn't want to fight.
She wants to fight like in main events, and that's it. But
she's not that level. You still pay your dues. And you got to remember, Flair, Lynch, Sasha, Bayley, yeah, they were a core piece on making
the women's
revolution. But they're only what, 5-6 years fresh in the WWE, right?
Been that long.
How long did it take the Bella Twins to get to where they're at? How long did it take Natalya? Natalia's been wrestling for over a decade, and she's still there putting in the work. How long did it take Rey Mysterio to get to where he's at?
A long ass time.
Almost 3 decades. So I get it. You're not young lad anymore, competing night in and night out, but you still got to put in your dues. And you're not at the head of the table. Bianca Belair's proven over time and time again that you're good. Bayley's about to make her return hopefully soon, or at some point. Sasha Banks, whatever's going on with her, we haven't seen her since the week prior. So, but there's more than just Lynch. Yeah, she's established herself. She's a great athlete. She's not a Charlotte Flair. And I want to see her fight. I like the badass Becky. And she's not portraying the badass. And even if you're going heel style, portray the badass. If you're wearing the badass outfit,
be the woman that actually beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. and she's not.
Nope.
And so that kind of hurts this storyline right now because we want to see the badass Becky Lynch go against the badass the badass boss Bianca Belair. But I don't know what we're seeing here. So another wasted segment of another refusal soap opera time. Okay, I remember growing up, my mom used to use a VHS recorder. We would record, and you had to have it on the channel of the soap operas, like Young and the Restless, so The Bold and the Beautiful. Listen, but VHS you had to put on the channel. So if you were home throughout the summertime, you couldn't watch TV from those time frames because you knew you couldn't turn the channel. If you turned the channel,
then your mom
would have recorded something else, and if your mom find out,
she's just trying to watch it when it got good.
It turns into the Wrigley's game, Cubs game, and then
she knows you to blame.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's really not going on. It's a stalemate. Nothing's happening. I'm kind of very disappointed in this. And I think it could be so much more. And this is what prompts, because the Street Profits, good entertainment. The Usos, good entertainment. Becky Lynch could be a good entertainment. Belair's good entertainment, but they're not utilizing it. And now, like I said, 2 weeks into it, you got 3 weeks before Extreme Rules. You got to pull something out of your ass.
Basically.
But I really feel, though, that once Becky starts standing up to this and starts showing a little bit more interest, then this can work. And it will be a good feud.
Very good.
Rick Boog, I say Bog Boog, defeats Ziggler. Starts reminding me of a Rick Rude.
Or Bobby Roode.
I like Rick Rude better.
True.
Cesaro defeats Rollins in a DQ match because Rollins is starting. He expressed the week prior that he wants to be more like Edge, and you got to bring the Brood out of it, right? So he starts hitting Cesaro with the chair, breaks off the leg of the chair, and does a crossface with the bar of the chair until Edge comes out and saves Cesaro. Then puts on the challenge mark. But not at Extreme Rules. We're in Madison Square Garden next week. The challenge has been accepted. So if everything goes to plan, because we've had matches on Raw that didn't go to plan, Seth Rollins, Edge, Madison Square Garden.
What time do you have a match too?
Now, that was a great match at WrestleMania. SummerSlam, yeah. WrestleMania, right? I would love to see that match again. I don't think it needs to wait for Extreme Rules. Now, if you ever thought about who deserves to be in Extreme Rules right now, Edge is a really good guy when it comes down to Extreme Rules. Is his body history, the same way?
Given his history, yes.
Well, he just has some. Spearing Mick Foley through the flaming table at WrestleMania. One of the greatest matches. All the stuff that he's had with Christian and Edge and the Hardys and the Dudley Boys. But one of the matches that stands out for Edge at Extreme Rules is when he faced The Undertaker in 2008. For the World Heavyweight Championship, tosses Undertaker through 4 tables and wins in a TLC match.
I really want to go back and watch that again.
It was and as a matter of fact, you know why I remember that match? I was there. And Chavo Guerrero interfered, and this was with Vicky Guerrero and all that stuff.
Damn.
But so this is going to happen at Madison Square Garden. Hopefully it does. I would love to see this match take place at Madison Square Garden.
A lot of stuff has happened at Madison Square Garden.
Exactly. So I think, you talk about all the great things that happen at Madison Square Garden.
Hopefully they actually do like a pay-per-view matches.
Yeah, this is a worthy match. And you think about it, you got 5 weeks before Extreme Rules. Even if these two guys don't get an Extreme Rules match, this is something that you can now, okay, we got to amp it up. We're in the middle of the run of between pay-per-views. Let's get the hype going by having a main event match like this. Knowing that Brock and Roman Reigns are going to face off against each other, hopefully.
Hopefully Extreme Rules.
You're not, maybe not Extreme Rules. Maybe that'll be Finn Balor and Brock interferes. That's how the title gets off of him. I don't know. We'll get into that in another segment or another episode. But, Brock and Roman's going to probably just talk, so no action to be taken. Now you have your main event for SmackDown.
True.
And this is, I mean, there's no other two guys you really want on the main event card.
Yeah.
Unless Roman Reigns was doing it. Right now, Roman Reigns or the Usos are not really main eventing. I mean, because it's the repetitive things. I'd rather keep them up at the front, put Edge and Rollins in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Logan Paul and Baron Corbin on the KO show.
Yep.
What is Logan Paul doing on SmackDown?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
What is Logan Paul doing at WWE?
They're just trying to make money.
Make money. I believe he came out with booze again. But what is he promoting? He's not promoting his brother.
Well, maybe
he promoted that he won. I don't know. I didn't actually hear what happened. I guess words got exchanged. Pushing and shoving got involved, and Corbin actually hit a choke slam. He ended up choke slamming Owens. Do you really see Corbin and Owens as a feud moving forward? This was a feud that started off. It was a back and forth going on. It wasn't really a feud in my books. And then they take a break because Big E and that was a waste of time.
Or Money in the Bank.
And then now Baron Corbin's back with Kevin Owens.
I can see that a good rivalry, but kind of now.
But you have nothing going for the rivalry. There's nothing at stake. You're not trying to get nothing out of it.
There's no good story behind that, yet, basically.
I mean, Owens came from last week being a commentator to coming back to the KO show. And I don't see nothing there. You're not really talking about his, Baron Corbin's not poor no more or as poor. So I don't, another wasted segment. I would like to see something happen out of it, but you're not being clear. And then once again, Sami Zayn and Dominic, Sami Zayn defeats Dominic again.
For the second straight week.
Yes. And you got to talk about the patience for Dominic. When, they go out and they win the tag titles, losing it shortly after. Now you progress into this learning section. You're really at a stalemate right now because it's not like Dominic's learning. And it's not like he's also going backwards. Yeah, he's losing, but he's making the same mistake over and over and over again. So I guess my question for you is either you go backwards and you really have him hit rock bottom, or you got to start building him up at some point. So at what point do you start building him back up? And who do you build him back up with? Because you got to remember, he came in and he fought Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is up here. Yeah. Sami Zayn's down here. It's not like he's going back to Seth Rollins, and he's not like he's going to Edge or, he's not teetering back and forth.
I feel like he's going back at a tag team, but with somebody else other than his dad.
But I don't think Ray can maintain himself that. I mean, that's why he's taking some weeks off, because he needs to recover. But who else is able to team up with them?
I mean, I would say Alberto Carrillo, but that's on a different show.
I mean, listen, they'll change people over whenever they want to. But what's next for Dominic? That's what I want to know. I want to know what is happening to Dominic. How much further are you teaching this lesson? And is this going to start becoming a positive thing, or are we stuck down here at the bottom? So, I mean, is he a wrestler? Is he a WWE athlete, or is he not? I mean, right now, without Ray, he's not an athlete. Not saying that he doesn't have the moves. He belongs more down at NXT. Now,
or moving to 205 Live.
Or 205 Live. But with everything that's going on, they're pushing him. They're giving him that push. So when are you going to give him that push? Because now he becomes a wasted segment on WWE.
Sure.
And I mean, listen, the first couple weeks was great because I love watching him. I love watching the son grow. But now, a couple months now, you got to start changing things up.
Exactly.
My opinion, I may be wrong. But I believe SmackDown was a better show than Raw and NXT. Do you know who won? Notre Dame win?
Last time I checked, it was 34-20.
Because I believe we probably excelled that time to the point where they should be done.
Or we're getting close to it.
Close to being done. We also like to just once again give our respects out to the fan and wish everyone the best of luck when it comes to the friends and family members. 38.
And it's almost
over. 40 seconds left. They will go, maybe in the extra overtime. Notre Dame and Florida State. That's the game that's going on tonight. Louisville's going to take on Ole Miss tomorrow. at Labor Day.
Mhm.
Well, like I said, we wish the best of luck to the friends and families of Shannon Claire Spruill, aka Daffney Unger, WCW and TNA performer who passed away this weekend. All Out Wrestling AEW is finally over with. We will cover a little bit of that later on, hopefully maybe this week.
Probably.
Do we know, does CM Punk win? Has that already been stated? I believe he's won. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything posted by the time you come up here.
Nope, they haven't really.
Nothing's been released yet. So, unfortunately, we'll have to cover that next time when we meet with you. Listen, everyone, have yourself a safe and happy holiday and Labor Day. Thank you for everyone who's out there in the workforce is doing stuff between health departments, fire departments, police departments. Hell, McDonald's and Walmart's, we go out there all the time. Thank you for the effort that you put in. Buffalo Wild Wings, let's give that a mention there. We will be back next weekend for some more updates and some more information. And hopefully WWE has a Raw and SmackDown moves forward. Madison Square Garden, Friday Night SmackDown. Don't want to miss that. NFL starts next weekend. Let's go ahead. We want to talk about that. I'm going to probably do a segment.
I think the first game is Thursday.
I believe it's the Buccaneers and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So definitely want to watch out for that. I am going to probably do a episode later on this week, and we're going to do football picks.
Okay.
We're going to just pick who we believe is going to win each and every week. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and share them on an episode with you. Maybe I'll just do it alone. I don't know. We'll figure
or maybe like a Facebook poll or something.
Whatever. Yeah, however we want to do that. You know about that stuff. I'll have to get with you on how to do that. But yeah, we're gonna do football picks, and if we could get a poll going on teams we're gonna do over and under, who's gonna win, would like to join us on that. Kind of expand our search a little bit more. Hey, preseason. This is in September time. I do want to mention this really fast. Baseball. I know, right? This is a completely different topic here. Baseball, we're in September. We're in the final stretch for the regular season. October baseball is a postseason analogy, and there's a lot of tight running races. Dodgers and Giants who faced off tonight. The Padres just got off and reclaimed the second wild card spot after beating the Astros, when the Reds losing to the Tigers today. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a race to watch out for. Yankees all sort of mess up and messy going on there. I mean, I think there's just so much stuff going on in the baseball. The postseason is coming in. So if anyone wants to comment, let me know. Who do you think is going to be in the final predictions of the postseason? What teams you think don't have a chance? I know there's a lot of heat between Cincinnati and San Diego right now because of really fighting for that last chance. But there's only under 30 games left of the season, and there is a lot of excitement if you're a baseball fan to pay attention to. So September is such a big month. Wrestling between WWE, AEW, you got 9/11 this weekend. We'll talk about as well. Next episode, we got NFL, NCAA, and baseball. So much more. Thank you for joining us on behalf of the J&J Talk Show. Justin here, and until next week, thank you.
Shank here.